Hey y'all, it's Brett, and today we are going to talk about your damage deposit and how to make sure that you get that back. I know that y'all have paid $500 whenever you're reserving the venue, and that is a refundable damage deposit. And so I always get the question of, well, how do we make sure that we get that back? Obviously, you want that $500. It could go to your honeymoon, to a new house, whatever future plans you have. $500 is a lot of money. So I'm just gonna go over some tips with you of how to ensure that you are gonna get that money back. So first of all, the damage deposit, obviously it's in the name, damages. Let's make sure that no one damages the venue. And one way you can do that is by limiting your bar. Unfortunately, when people get a little too drunk, they tend to break things. A couple weeks ago, we had some guys that thought it would be funny to hang on the stall in the bathroom, and it ripped the stall out of the wall. So obviously now we have to completely re-sheetrock that wall, and that is very expensive. So they lost their damage deposit. That is one example. So if you kind of limit your bar, that might help a little bit with the damages. And then just also making sure that anyone who is bringing kids is watching their kids and being responsible for them. We've had kids go outside before and just completely rip up like our flowers and our bushes out of the ground. Obviously, that costs a lot of money for us to replace, and so that would be one example of how you might lose that deposit. So damages is definitely the number one way. Number two would be time frame. Whenever you are setting your time frame with us, you guys are picking that time frame. So if you are doing the 12-hour package and you're picking, let's just say 12 to 12, make sure you're communicating with your vendors not to come on property until that 12 o'clock time frame. The reason is we're doing other appointments and probably giving tours. So if your vendors show up at say 11 o'clock and they don't have access until 12, they're interrupting those appointments, which obviously then is taking us away from those clients, and that's just kind of rude to those people whose time it is. So just making sure that your vendors are aware of the arrival time and that they know that is a strict arrival time. Also, overtime. So the last hour, y'all know, has to be for vendors to break down and move out. But you should still be asking your vendors how much time they need. If you have done some big, crazy floral installation on the ceiling in here, an hour is not enough breakdown time. You're probably gonna need more like 2 hours. So asking your vendors how much breakdown time they need is another huge key factor in getting that damage deposit back. So that way they're out on time and not staying late. Because if they're staying late, obviously we have to pay our employee to stay late. We have to keep the lights on. We have to keep the air going. Things add up. So that is another way that you might would lose that damage deposit. And then the bar, making sure that all of the policies and the rules are being met, just reviewing the contract. That's really gonna be a key focal point. I would also say making sure that your florist or decorator knows not to leave holes in the wood. Obviously wood cannot heal itself, guys. So if every wedding we had nailed something into the arbor outside, it would just be a big like mess of holes. It would look terrible. So that's why we don't allow holes into the wood. You can do command strips, zip ties, fishing line, anything like that, but just making sure that whoever's decorating is following those rules and policies. One other way that people are losing their damage deposit is cleaning. So if you are hiring a caterer and they are not staying until the very end of the night to make sure all of the trash is bussed off the tables and taken out to the dumpsters, then that responsibility does fall on y'all. If your family isn't wanting to bust the tables and they just leave and we have to do it, then that money would be going to the people that we are having to pay to clean and bust the tables. So obviously, if you don't want to lose that damage deposit, hire a caterer who's gonna stay and bust tables, take out all the trash, make sure that everything is nice and clean. That way you get that money back. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.